What am I doing on YouTube? I'm 31 years old. What am I doing in my life? I've been massively struggling with my mental health and just these existential questions that I have towards myself at all times. I have so much pressure that I've put on myself. It's just wild. And if you're new here, I'm sorry, this is the first video that you're seeing. You might want to go watch my other videos. And if you're not new here, then you know that I am Rachel. My name is Rachel. Hi. And I have OCD and ADHD, anxiety, depression, complex PTSD. Shall we keep the list going? And a lot has changed since the last time I talked with you guys. I feel like I've been struggling to film because a lot of goals that I've wanted to hit have been happening, and my brain tells me I should be happy, but everything in me gets scared, because visibility is a very scary thing for me. I grew up in a household where being seen was not ever a thing, and if it was a thing, it was not a good thing. I just feel like lately I've been a little bit stuck in frozen mode and been just beating the hell out of myself internally, and my mind has been just not a great place to be. A lot of existential questions, a lot of feeling like I'm never good enough, I'm never doing enough. Am I fucking up my kid? Am I doing a good enough job at being a mom? It's just like all these questions all the time, and that's really hard to navigate. I did read a book though, The Midnight Library, and if you're on my social media, you saw a video about this. That fucking book destroyed me. That is such a good book, and I saw so many mixed reviews. Some people were like, I enjoyed this book until it was moonlighting as a self-development book, and I was just like, I read that, I was like, okay, we'll see. I'll give it my own opinion. I never like basing my opinions off of what other people say. I like to experience something for myself and then make my opinion. I really feel like it's one of the best books I've ever read in my life. It hit me so hard because it talks a lot about overthinking and feeling like you're never good enough. I definitely feel like Nora, the main character, is neurodivergent as fuck. And just as someone who has experienced suicidal ideation in different stages of my life, especially when I was in the military and when I was a teenager a lot, I just really related to her in that book. It's wild to be in someone else's POV because the way that Nora talks in that book and the things that she works through and the way that her mind works of constantly feeling like she doesn't make an impact in people's life, feeling like she doesn't do enough, like she never does enough and she's never good enough. She just feels like her life is just falling apart. And then when she goes into this midnight library, essentially it shows her all of these different books that are different realities where she is living these different realities, and she can go live them for a bit if she picks up the book and reads the first line. And a lot of these lives, it shows her the impact that she's made on other people. And there was one in particular with her cat, and I just was sobbing. And I was telling my husband about it after I read it. The next day I told him about it, and I was crying again telling him. And he was like, that is you with your daughter, because I just feel like I'm so scared that I am negatively impacting her life, and I don't want her to have the experience that I had. I'm terrified of that. I don't know, reading that book for me was just so needed and so good. I'm gonna grab a napkin. I'm a mess. One thing I hate about our society is that it's like, only take pictures when you smile and only share your experience when you're happy, and nobody wants to hear when you're sad. And I just think that's so fucked up and causes so many people just suffering in silence and not feeling like it's a safe space ever to share. So I'm gonna try my hardest to be courageous and post this, and if I do end up posting it, thank you for being a safe space for me. Just reading that book, holy fuck, dude, like that book hit me so hard. I feel like I'm still processing it. Ever since I read that book, personally, I've been just reading like really smutty alien, like monster erotica books because I just feel like I need to like process the depth of the Midnight Library and have some like fun, use a different part of my reader brain or whatever. Seeing the different realities where people were impacted from Nora just being herself and existing was really big for me. I just feel like so many of us feel like we have to do in order to be worthy. We have to be productive in order to impact someone. Our productivity equals our worthiness, and if we're not productive, then we don't matter. And number one, that just fucking sucks that is where we are as a society. And number two, it's not true at all. You know, I feel like people impact me all the time. I remember the wildest things about my life and the people who have made massive impacts. And most of the people in my life who have made massive impacts really weren't doing anything. It was who they were being in those moments that I needed someone to be there and just to be with me in the trenches, you know, and they were there. And I just feel like that's something that is hard to grasp sometimes. I don't know, it's hard. It's just like constantly striving to be more and more and more and more and more, and then always feeling like you're never doing enough. I don't know if this is like the oldest daughter syndrome or what, but fuck, dude, it sucks. If you resonate with anything that I'm saying, and if you've ever felt that way, I really suggest reading The Midnight Library. It was such a beautiful read for me, and I did not feel like it was self-development at all. I feel like it was showcasing the human experience in such a powerful way. But anyways, so many cool things have been happening, guys, and I don't want you to watch this and be like, oh my god, Rachel's bawling, she's a sad girl, she's in her sad era vibes. I have been a little bit in my sad girl vibes, but I've also had a lot of milestones, a lot of cool shit happen, but because I've just been like in this weird hermit mode, I haven't really been recording much of it. I think last week was hard too because I officially closed down my membership that was connected to my online business because I'm transitioning everything into being more connected to my big dream of being a writer, which feels really scary. And I don't know if I shared this with you guys, but I was talking with my therapist and just like, I'm terrified of doing what I actually want. And when something works out, like even this channel being at like over 700 subscribers right now, that terrified me. But also at the same time, I'm elated. I'm so excited. And I like honestly am in awe. I can't believe that there's 700 people that want to talk with me on a weekly basis. Like that feels so cool and makes me cry. Why? I don't know. But also it's scary, you know? I think a big part of that too, I was thinking about this driving home. I think too, it's like growing up, I just was taught in my household by experience, whether my parents were trying to do it, you know, consciously or subconsciously. I was taught that my voice didn't matter. The things that I thought or said weren't ever valued. I didn't feel seen ever in my household. And so now feeling like my voice is valued and that there are people who see me at my core and people who like showing up and hearing me talk and having conversations with me on a weekly basis. You guys genuinely want to be here. I think number one, it's a little confusing for the little girl version of me who never felt that, you know, it's like, well, what? And number two, it's like, then what happens is that it means that my experience growing up was not me. I wasn't the problem. It was that there were people in my life that didn't know how to make me feel valued and didn't know how to make me feel seen and didn't know how to do that for other people. And, you know, that's good to hear, but also another part of that is like the acceptance piece of it. The people who, you know, were put on earth to love me and see me, they couldn't, for whatever reason. And I think that's scary for someone with OCD because if it was me, I could change, right? I could change who I was being. I could make myself better. I could be more productive. I could do more for them so that they could see me and value me. And then when I realized that, yeah, it wasn't really me because there's people in the world who do care. It's like, but then there's no fix, you know, there's no solution. And that's scary, and that sucks, you know, it sucks. I think it's easier for us to think that we're the problem because then I can change and I can be better or do more and I can fix it, you know, there's a solution if it's me. But if it's not me, it's out of my control and it just is what it is. And I have to just learn to accept that there are certain people in the world who don't know how to value others and don't know how to see others, and that's a sad reality, you know. It makes me even more sad because they were never taught that. They were never seen and valued and heard, and that's like a double suck. It doesn't excuse the behavior. It doesn't mean that I'm going to be putting myself in situations with those people and allowing them to continuously treat me like that, because fuck no. But it helps me understand why they were the way that they were. Never excuses it, but helps me understand it. But this is how my brain has been lately. Very introspective and very reflective and very inquisitive and very much so in like my poet era. Wow, if you're still here at this point, I love you. Thank you for being here. It's not all gonna be like inquisitive and sad girl energy. And I don't want you guys to think I'm just like purely sad. And when I'm like this, it's like a duality, nuance. There's this happiness and then there's also this grief. And there's this like joy for the overarching experience of my life and also sadness for the pain, you know? It's just like what it is like to be human. Today, I feel like I need a little pick-me-up because I've been in my feels and I just need a little pick-me-up. That's it. Let's go dye our hair and then we'll talk in a bit, I guess. Love you. Thanks for being here.
There is a life I lead in this city, hurrying to cup my tea. I can take what I need to get by. It doesn't make it easy.
What do you guys think? I think it turned out really perfect, actually. I threw a fit together because I really wanted to wear this shirt because it's comfy in this color and it's new, but the shorts were no, so I'm wearing it with my plaid trousers. So this is the quick fit to go pick up Steele and then come right back home. I feel like the more people that I reach on YouTube and the more vulnerable that I am on my videos, the scarier and scarier it is to actually share them. You guys motivate me so much, and I don't know if that's a good thing or is it a bad thing that I need to vlog in order to do things? Do we need to say it's bad or good? Do we need to label it? Probably not. It just is what it is. Like, it just helps me. It makes me feel like I'm not doing it alone. That's kind of cool to think about. So, cheer me on.